We're here this afternoon with Scott Jensen, who teaches guitar in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area and who has a profile on findaguitarteacher.com. Welcome, Scott. Thanks for talking to us today.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks, James.
It's a pleasure to meet you. Can you tell us first, I know you teach in Minneapolis-St. Paul. Can you tell us more specifically where you teach? Do students come to you or do you go to your students' homes?
Yeah, I'm in the West Metro of Minneapolis, actually, the Waconia area, and I help students in Waconia, Mound, Minnetrista, Victoria, and all the smaller communities around that area.
And so you travel to those communities to your students' homes?
No, actually, they come to. I've got a studio here in my home, full setup. Got a comfortable waiting area for parents as well. So yeah, all my lessons are here.
Excellent. And do you teach both adults and children?
Absolutely. The youngest I take is age 8, and I've had students past retirement age.
Excellent. Very wide range. And how would you describe the guitar lesson climate in Minneapolis-St. Paul? Would you say there are a lot of people who are interested in learning guitar?
Oh, there's a ton of people. Guitar has really, made a huge comeback in the last several years, and there's a lot of people. I see a lot of kids getting into it, thanks to some of those video games that were out there.
Of course.
And two, then, a lot of adults, as they're getting older and they're looking for hobbies and things to do, and it's always been on their bucket list, or, that they still want to be that rock star,
Of course. I don't think that ever goes away. And what styles of music do you find students are most often interested in learning?
It's funny because it's really kind of, age dependent, but, the younger kids, it's of course, the current hits and pop music. I teach a lot of Taylor Swift,
I know the feeling, Scott.
But, the older students, they're still very much rooted in the music they grew up with, classic rock and kind of that, classic metal and things like that.
And are there other styles that you offer as well that maybe people don't specifically ask for as much, but that you certainly offer if someone's interested?
Hey, I really focus on pop, rock, and blues. A little bit of country, not a whole lot, but
Yeah.
pop, rock, and blues is really kind of my focus.
Excellent. And can you tell us a little bit about the lesson structure? How long are your lessons and how often do students meet with you?
Yeah, what's really cool is, I've developed a number of different formats, that help students, they find, in all their budgets and levels of commitment, which is really cool. I've got, individual lessons that are half hour, an hour, and what's become most popular is my small group lessons.
And by small group, how many would that be?
No more than 3, which is great because they still get that personal attention from me, but yet they're in a group setting, which has a whole host of advantages to it.
Of course. And what are your fees, Scott?
I'd like to assess, the student and have them come in and we chat about, what's best for them time-wise. And because of all the different programs that I offer, I've got something for everyone.
And can you tell us a little bit about how you learned guitar? I was interested to read on your website that you said you had played for a few years when you were in your early teens and then stopped altogether for about 15 years, you said. What drew you back to the guitar?
My story is like so many of my students. You start at a young age and you've got all the time in the world. And I took lessons, both in a group and in a private setting and had some fantastic teachers. And, of course, I had the garage bands and the backyard parties and that kind of thing. And, life just gets in the way. You start a career and a family and you buy a home but it's always in the back of your mind. You never quite can, lose that bug of playing the guitar. So got back into it, a number of years ago and just have loved it and wanted to do something with it. And, so I wanted to help other people learn how to play.
And do you find that your own experience helps you with your adult students, many of whom might have had the same experience as you had?
Oh, absolutely, because I can relate to them. Which is so important for a teacher. I mean, they need to make that connection with their students. So being able to relate and see their struggles and be able to convey that, I've had those very same struggles and you can overcome them.
And how would you describe in simple terms your approach to teaching? You mentioned when we were chatting before the interview that you put a very strong focus on the student and their playing. Can you describe in more detail how you approach your teaching?
Yeah, it is. It's all about the student, James. They're here to learn. So I give them, for example, in private lessons, the curriculum is structured based on their goals. The first thing we do is sit down and we develop those goals. We find out what it is they want to get out of lessons. And from there, I develop a custom roadmap for them. In my small group, I've got a fantastic curriculum that really gives them that foundation, that solid base they need to become good guitar players.
And your students who come to you, whether it's individual students or in the small group setting, I would imagine there are times when these students are looking to buy new guitars or their first guitar or a newer, nicer guitar, something they've been looking for. Do you offer guidance to your students about what equipment to buy?
Oh, that's a great question. And in fact, that's one of the things that really separates me from other teachers and something I didn't have as a student. Students will get partway through the week and they'll find themselves struggling with something or they have a question. And one thing that I offer to all of my students is that they can call me, they can email me, they can text me, and we'll work through any of those questions they have. Now, it might be about their lesson, or it could be, like you said, about gear. I could talk, gear all day. So I have a lot of parents calling me, especially, holiday time and things like that.
Right, of course.
Yeah, as they're shopping, I'm always here for my students. I mean, that's really what separates Six String Studios from other teachers.
And you mentioned Six Strings. Is the name of your studio Six String Madness?
It's Six String Studios.
Six String Studios. And is Six String Madness, I saw that on your website. Is that the blog that you have?
Correct. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like in that blog also that there are a lot of answers there to questions might have, that the kind of questions that people might be calling you with between the lessons. Some of those answers are found in that blog. Would you say that's true?
Oh, it's a great resource. My time is limited, and I can only see so many students in person, during the week. So I've got a fantastic blog at sixstringmadness.com that there's a whole host of resources and information and things that not only my students, but people all over the world can enjoy and take advantage of.
That's wonderful, Scott. Well, Scott Jensen, we're going to be wrapping up the interview in a second, but I want to wish you best of luck in your music and guitar teaching. And Scott Jensen of Six String Studios in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and sixstringmadness.com, your guitar teaching blog. Best of luck to you in your guitar teaching.
Thanks, James. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Scott. And we look forward to seeing you very soon on Find a Guitar Teacher as well.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.